January 2024. Russian occupiers attack Kyiv. A missile hits a residential building. 4 people are killed, and more than 50 are injured. This attack became very symbolic. It showed that Kim Jong-un is siding with Putin and is ready not just to support him, but to assist him in the war against Ukraine. Then in early January, the building was hit by none other than a North Korean KN-23 missile. Although the first use was recorded a few days before, December 30th, 2023. The first batch of North Korean missiles was used up by Putin's soldiers in a couple of months. In total, about 50 were launched. As a result of the attacks, 24 people were killed and another 115 were injured. But the number of victims could have been much higher. What saved the situation was that the DPRK missiles are of extremely poor quality.
Approximately about half of the North Korean missiles lost their programmed flight paths and exploded in the air. In such cases, the debris was not found.
But for Putin, this is not so important. The main thing is to continue the terror. Therefore, after a short pause, in the summer of this year, the Russians began launching North Korean missiles at Ukraine. Again. The KN-23 is a ballistic missile. It was first showcased at a parade in 2018. However, at that time, it was likely just a mock-up. The real presentation, however, was a year later, in 2019. According to North Korean authorities, the missile successfully underwent testing in 2021. What can immediately be said about the Korean KN-23 is that it is almost a complete copy of the Russian Iskander. Because of this, it started being called the Kim-Skander, Kim's version X of the Iskander.
The KN-23 is a copy, well, not exactly a copy, but essentially a missile that was created, the Russian Iskander missile, specifically the 9M723 ballistic missile was used as a model in the creation of this missile. Visually, these missiles are similar in both design and size. Although the Korean one has a slightly larger diameter and some differences in the tail section.
But Comrade Kim possibly decided to cut costs. The quality of the KN-23 leaves much to be desired.
The Korean missile is, of course, significantly more primitive in all systems: guidance system, navigation system, radio electronics, and naturally inaccuracy and in terms of resistance to electronic warfare means is radio countermeasures.
We will talk about all this a little later. For now, let's talk about the specifications. The length of the KN-23 is 7.5 meters. The total mass is 3 to 4 tons. The warhead is 500 kilograms. The range is 690 kilometers. In particular, the North Korean missile differs from the Iskander in this last aspect. The Russian ballistic missile is capable of flying 500 kilometers, which means that even here, Kim has outdone Putin by 190 kilometers. However, this might not be the limit. At the beginning of 2024, analysts from the International Institute for Strategic Studies claimed a supposedly confirmed launch range of up to 900 kilometers. According to their information, the missiles demonstrated such a range during tests in June 2023. Is this true? It remains only to speculate. But one conclusion can definitely be drawn. Not everything Kim says about his weaponry is true. The KN-23 is clearly not the pinnacle of technological dreams.
For example, they compared the wiring of the missile in, well, the connecting wires between various missile systems. The blocks, yes. Well, the wiring on these missiles is not even insulated. It should be shielded. Yes, there is no shielding. This indicates that without internal insulation of the wires, it means that electronic warfare signals can reach some elements of the missile's navigation system.
The Koreans did this to lighten the missile to increase its range. The distance was indeed increased, but now everything else is suffering. Using the KN-23 in the presence of electronic warfare is simply impossible. The accuracy leaves much to be desired. Actually, it's not even that. There is absolutely no accuracy.
To hit a target, they need to be launched in masses. You know, like those multiple launch rocket systems. In the same way, these KN-23s need to be launched so that out of 10, one might hit somewhere.
So, in essence, the KN-23 was created solely for terror, all in the best traditions of dictatorship.
Well, the Koreans generally want to threaten the whole world. And you see, dictatorial regimes are only stable when they are in conflict with their neighbors. They show their entire population that we are surrounded by enemies. We need to create as much weaponry as possible.
Another distinctive feature of dictators is that they constantly exchange information and data concerning various types of weapons and technologies. In this way, they can improve their missiles.
Yes, they actively exchange new information among themselves, unlike, let's say, democratic regimes where a lot of procedures need to be followed. Here, a simple phone call from one dictator to another is enough, right? Exactly. And with some brief negotiations, without any red lines, the supply of any type of missiles can begin immediately.
Therefore, it's not worth celebrating when information appears that the KN-23, for example, explode in the air. For North Korea, Ukraine could be a sort of testing ground. After all, following information about problematic issues, Kim will try to fix them if he hasn't already ordered them to be fixed.
First, they reach a certain technological level with their products, and then they gradually improve it. That is an absolutely correct path. Given that they themselves are not capable of developing highly advanced technologies, they, with the help of allies, establish themselves at a certain existing level and try to improve this level by any means, in any way possible.
The good news is perhaps that the number of such missiles is extremely limited. We are likely talking not about hundreds, but about dozens of transferred KN-23s. But in any case, these are destructions and casualties. And not many air defense systems can shoot down ballistic missiles. Although we hope that soon we will have many more air defense systems, particularly Patriots. And when that happens, we will definitely let you know. So give us a like, write in the comments what you think, and be sure to subscribe to our new Arsenal channel. The link will be in the description below the video.